The following is a special presentation of the First Horizon Green Sports Zone. This is the Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show. Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome to this year's edition of the Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show, where we cover everything on the court with the Greenville Green Devil basketball team. We'll run down this year's roster, talk about who you can see on the court in the 2025-26 season, and we'll talk about the schedule, who they have in conference, non-conference, and the in-season tournament games. But first, before we do all that, we need to go ahead and get our billboard spot in first. So don't go anywhere. We'll talk about that right after this quick break here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone. The Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show is brought to you by Gateway Ford Nissan, Tommy's Plumbing, Pizza Inn, and by First Horizon Bank.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon, First Horizon Bank.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome to this year's edition of the Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show, where we cover everything on the court with the Greenville Green Devils basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with Green Devils head coach Brad Woolsey. Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you, Tyler.
Absolutely. Getting into basketball now. I know football's still prevalent, so haven't got all the boys back yet, but looking forward to a new season in Hal Henard Gymnasium with a lot of new faces. So let's run through the 2025-26 team. Tell us who you can expect to see on the court this year when the Green Devils take the floor.
So if you look to last year and kind of see who got a lot of playing time for us last year, there's really two guys that kind of stand out as guys you probably expect that are going to lead early, and that's Jordan Mills and Taryn Clarity. They got a little bit different game. You know, Taryn's a very explosive athlete, can be a great defender, has shot the ball pretty well. It's going to be a really big key for us this year. And then Jordan, who's got a lot of, I guess you just say game. He's got a lot of game to the way he plays. You know, has a lot of ability to put the ball on the floor, shoots the ball really well. So I would expect those two guys to kind of be the guys that kind of get us going and lead us. Cole Smith would have been another one, but obviously he was injured during football season, so unfortunately we won't have his services this year. But you know, as far as seniors go, we've got two, Ryan Maggart and William Woolsey. And neither of those guys really have much experience at all at this point, but both have really done a lot to improve themselves in the last several months, just both physically and then just also basketball-wise. And so I expect them to lead well, expect them to provide some points, some good shooting. So those are two seniors that we're probably going to lean on some. And then there's some other juniors. You got Parker Quillen and Braylon Kidwell, who are both guys that are guards. Parker's big thing is shooting the ball. Guy shoots it really, really, really well. Braylon Kidwell, he's more of a point guard, and I think we'll see him really develop this year, you know, and fit that role. And he's going to work on being a little bit more vocal, but those guys are guys that we kind of expect to step up and lead us this year.
And then talk about some of those bench guys that we could see on the floor too. I know you've got some freshmen and sophomore coming from the 8th grade class, and then that played JV last year too. Who are some of those bench guys that you can expect to see the floor some on the varsity level this year?
So a couple guys. One is Amir Knight. Amir didn't get to play last year. He tore his ACL in football, and so he missed his whole freshman season. But he's about 6'3", handles the ball well, can shoot it. Really, really grown a lot in terms of just how he approaches the game just in the first few months here. So he's done a great job of really trying to lead as a sophomore just thus far during the season. And then you got Ryan Job, who's another kid that has really improved himself. he was just a late bloomer, and you can start seeing some of the change for him, just both athletically and confidence-wise. Zy Neal's a freshman who had a really good 8th grade year last year, and he did some really good things for us this summer as well. And we expect him to come in and have some big minutes for us.
Normally I would ask about a starting lineup, but you really don't have one right now. A lot of players are still in football, so whenever you start regular season play this week, you won't have the starting lineup that you would have in January and February's conference action. So we'll put that question to the side until a few weeks later whenever you do get those guys in. But losing basically everybody from last year's Final Four state tournament team, how do you kind of reconfigure your starting lineup and just your style of play with the team that you have this year?
Well, just because of when a lot of the change happened, it was after we had already went through the whole summer, scrimmage period, and so when change happened, then it kind of put us behind the 8 ball a little bit and trying to figure things out. But what we did, you can either pout about stuff or you can just work harder, and so we just chose to work harder, and so we spent a lot of time in July just with the kids that are not in football, just trying to get them up to speed on what we do, really trying to teach them how to hedge ball screens and how to handle rear screens, and then just offensively, just trying to get them in the flow of what we do. So we spent a lot of time in July doing that, in addition to being in the weight room, and then this fall we've been in the weight room consistently, 3 and 4 days a week. And then we've also been doing a lot of individual work. So to answer your question, really what we've done is just really trying to focus on fundamentals more than anything else, and patterns of play and fundamentals in our individual work. And practice thus far is kind of just the same thing. Our big focus has been on fundamentals, and then just trying to see how this particular group plays together. And of course, it's hard because, in a few weeks, you're going to have a whole new group. And so there's kind of that, now we're trying to figure it all out again. So it'll just be a work in progress, but just really thankful to have the kids that we have, and as a coach, and, being from Greenville, and it's a special thing to be able to coach here in our community and just have opportunity to, spend time with kids and try and see them develop and make the best that they can of themselves.
And losing your whole starting lineup last year, losing 3 seniors, losing 2 juniors that reclassify and then enroll early, you don't have that leadership from last year's squad too. I know you've got 2 returning players that played on the floor in Murfreesboro last year, and are you expecting them to be the leaders? Who are you expecting to be some of those leaders this year going into the season?
When you think about leadership, there's really kind of two kinds of leaders. There are those that are vocal and those that are going to lead by example. I think that we'll have several guys that are going to lead by example. The question is going to be who's going to be a vocal leader. And I probably, in terms of being vocal, probably the one of the people that stands out as far as being vocal is Parker Quillen. He's a vocal guy. He talks a lot. And so in terms of being a vocal leader, I think he'll probably be a guy. And then we're going to need some other guys step up and be that, kind of come alongside him and be a vocal leader as well. Who that is, I don't know. You always kind of expect your seniors to step up and do that. And so I would expect William and Ryan Maggart probably to be 2 guys that really kind of step up and take on that role.
It'll be a learning process, of course, kind of going into the season this week without the football guys, and then getting them back. Like you said, you've kind of got to mesh together and learn how yourselves work together in that sense throughout the season. So it'll be probably before January before we see a full Greenville product. But let's talk about some of those games that you will see from Greenville on the court. We'll talk about the non-conference action, the conference action, and the in-season tournaments that the Green Devils will be a part of. But first, we need to get a break in first. So stick with us, and we'll cover that right after this break here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if, instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank.
Pizza Inn presents I ate at Pizza Inn. I ate pizza at Pizza Inn. I ate a salad at Pizza Inn.
I ate pizza!
I ate it all.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I'm inviting you to come and enjoy Greenville's favorite hometown pizza, pasta, salad, and dessert buffet for just $8 all day, Monday through Friday. And then you can say,
"We all ate at Pizza Inn."
Tommy's Plumbing has been in business for 30 years, and we're still growing because we treat our customers like family. We are proud to do any job from kitchen faucet installation to a complete home repipe. Tommy's Plumbing offers warranties on most products installed by our technicians. When the job is done, our friendly professionals make sure to clean up. We invite you to visit our new showroom in Jonesboro to see our quality products for yourself. Tommy's is the only one to call when you need a fast, reliable, professional plumber in the Tri-Cities.
At many dealerships, you get what you'd expect: games, gimmicks, and shady sales tactics. At Gateway Nissan in Greenville, expect the unexpected: low prices, convenient service, and a great buying experience.
Get our Gateway exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty.
No worries for life.
You deserve the unexpected. It's the #1 reason you gotta get to Gateway.
Shop online at gatewaynissangreenville.com.
Or take the super short drive down Highway 11E to Gateway Nissan in Greenville.
Welcome back to First Horizons Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the PTN Brad Woolsey Show, where we cover everything on the hardwood with the Greenville Green Devils basketball team. As always, joined here with Greenville head coach Brad Woolsey. So, looking at your schedule from top to bottom, a lot of things are different, of course. The conference has changed a little bit, and we'll touch on that first. We'll follow with the non-conference schedule and a few of the new in-season tournaments that you'll be a part of too. But first and foremost, let's talk about the most important games of the year, and that's, of course, your conference games. You've lost a team. It's now just a 4-team conference now. So talk about the conference now and what we can expect to see.
Yeah, so our conference is now Cherokee, Volunteer, Granger, and us, and so that's going to look a little different. We dropped Claiborne, and now we got to pick up a set of non-conference games. But the conference, I think, overall is going to be better this year. Volunteers picked up some transfers, and they're going to be better this year. Cherokee got a transfer; they're going to be better this year. And then Granger is just going to have a lot of experience. They're going to have 2 guards that have played all 4 years and been a big part of their program. And so there's going to be a lot of experience and a lot of talent on those teams. So it'll be tough, probably tougher than usual. And but we look forward to the challenge of our conference. And I wish our conference was bigger. Just you having to find so many non-conference games, but that's just kind of the way it is, and it's the new world that we live in.
Speaking of those non-conference games that you had to find too, a very tough non-conference schedule, maybe one of the toughest non-conference schedules in the whole entire state. You've got Bearden, Sevier County, Dobbins, just a slew of teams that are on the schedule this year that are tough matchups for the Green Devils. So take us through some of those non-conference head-to-head series that you've scheduled.
Yeah, we've got those that I would consider regulars, which over the last several years, your Morristown East, Dobbins Bennett, Science Hill, and even Bearden. We've played Bearden probably for the last 5 or 6 years. But all of those teams are good. You look at Dobbins Bennett's gotten several transfers in. They're going to look different this year. Bearden's going to be tough. We've got them Thursday night. But those teams that are regulars that are just always going to be tough for us. And then when we dropped Claiborne, we picked up Maryville, and we knew that this group of Maryville kids as sophomores went to the state tournament. And last year we kind of expected them to go to the state tournament as well, but they probably play in maybe the toughest district in basketball in Tennessee. You got Bearden, Knox West, Farragut is really, really tough district, but they didn't make it last year, but they've got most all their guys back, and so we've got a home and home with them. We play in Alcoa. We've kind of played Alcoa for the last several years, and they're going to be challenged for a state championship in 3A. So when you look at our non-conference schedule, it is in terms of the home and things like that, it's going to be a very, very tough schedule, and it would be one of the toughest that we've ever had.
Yeah, it's something to mention too is now Alcoa's jumped from Class 2A to Class 3A, so that's kind of maybe a state tournament preview in some sorts of ways, looking at the Tornadoes. But let's look at some of the in-season tournaments too, because I know that you'll be competing in the Classic again, no longer the Arby's Classic, just the Classic now, still in Bristol, Tennessee at Viking Hall, and you'll be competing in a in-season tournament in Louisville, I think the King of the Bluegrass tournament. So talk about the in-season tournaments that you'll be a part of this year.
So the first one's actually going to be next week. We go to Knox Gibbs, and we'll be playing in a tournament at Knox Gibbs next week. And so get down to Knox, we'll play some good teams down there, and then we go to King of the Bluegrass right before Christmas. It's a tournament that's got a long history in Kentucky. Started about the same time as the Classic did here in Tennessee. Has always had great teams, has some of those great Louisville, Lexington teams that play there. So we wanted to go to this tournament for several years, and we were excited to have the opportunity to do that this year. But they take about 14 teams from Kentucky, and then they take like 2 out-of-state teams, and we were lucky enough to be one of those out-of-state teams that gets to participate this year. So we'll go up there, and then we go play in the Classic after Christmas, which again is always tough competition, and drew fittingly, I guess, Upperman in the first round. That's after we'd drawn that, I'm driving home, and Coach McWilliams from Upperman just was like, "Are you serious? We can't get away from each other, can we?" And that's the way it seems the last several years, because it's not just basketball.
It's everything.
It's football,
baseball, softball.
Yeah, it's just
girls basketball, everything.
Yeah. It seems like that's a matchup but that also brings some excitement too. You know, it's somebody that there's a little bit of a rivalry with, and they're well coached, and so we'll be excited about playing in each of those tournaments.
And I know competing in the Classic too, you've got to feel nice being just a short trip away from one of your in-season tournaments too.
Yeah, and for it to be such a special tournament.
Yeah.
You know, it's a holiday institution in terms of boys basketball, and for us to be this close and also just have an opportunity to consistently play in it, it's definitely a blessing, and we're thankful for that. You know, you're always going to see great teams. It's never easy, but you always have a chance to kind of really see who you are over about a 4 or 5 day period. And for us, it's good because, you know, it's when we're getting football guys back late, you know, it's just kind of that thing that right before conference season starts to pick up. It's just a great test for us getting to play multiple days. So we're excited about it.
And I know going into the season this Thursday, you've got Bearden to start off with. There's always a lot of emotions bundled together when you start a season. I think the 3 that I've spoke about with other coaches is nerves, excitement, and anxiety. What emotions are you feeling going into the first game this Thursday?
I mean, personally, in terms of like, it's not nerves as much as it's just trying to focus on purpose. And I really don't think about Thursday a lot. I think about practice today, and so like most all of my mental energy is going into thinking a little bit about Thursday, but it's more about, so how can we cover the fundamentals today? What can we do to give ourselves a chance against Bearden, and how do we fit all that together right now in practice? And so it's really just a day-to-day thing. You know, how do we do on this yesterday? How can we get better on this today? And so really it's just a focus on the here and now. It's a focus on the next practice. And, you know, if you do that, then you tend to be ready for Thursday night.
I think there's a lot of excitement around Green Devil basketball this year. It's going to look a lot different, but I think people are always excited whenever Hal Henard's doors open up and people get to watch Green Devil basketball.
Oh yeah, we want to see some great crowds this year, and you know, just come and support our kids that are going to work hard. They're going to do do the right things, and hopefully put a good product on the floor.
Absolutely. Well, unless there's anything else you've got to add, I think that's all I got this week.
That's got it.
All right, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you. Thank you all for watching the first edition of the PTN Brad Woolsey Show. Look forward to seeing you next time here on First Horizons Green Sports Zone.